A torched Bentley gunshot in the Hollywood Hills. This is wild. So sadly, I gotta talk about Clavicular again, because there's a lot going on with Clavicular. Not only has he been sued for battery and fraud by a teen influencer, which he should be like, for what he did to her is really messed up. And he did it, part of it on stream. And then there's this whole thing with him being connected to the Israeli mob. Like, the club that he just bought in Miami was like, he's fronting it for the Israeli mob. And he's involved with all this other shit too. And this woman, she's not a woman, she was a 16-year-old girl, in fact. And he brought her on stream and he injected her with some kind of substance into her face. This is video of him injecting it into her face.
Jeff Epstein just tipped $4.
It's ridiculous.
I hear you got the plug for those fresh Stacy's.
And so he's being sued for battery and fraud by an influencer after sleeping with her while she was under 18 and injecting her with Aqualix to melt fat in her cheeks and promising to make her the female face for Looksmaxxing. She claims that Clavicular, legal name Braden Peters, I'm not surprised that his name is Braden, had relations with her when she was 16, inviting her to his house and giving her excessive amounts of alcohol. She was unable to consent. Also claiming that he was assaulting her when she woke up, basically. She says that he injected her with a drug into her cheeks, which she alleges users suggested there was methamphetamine in. Mr. Peters denies the claims and disputes the characterization of events. He will respond through the appropriate legal channels and intends to vigorously defend himself. So at least one of those things you did on video. And not only that, there's all this shit with him apparently taking advantage of these like young adult content creators in a similar way, the way that Andrew Tate was, like being a manager for them and taking all their fucking money. Let's look at this though. This is the crazy story about him. The Israeli Mafia thing. But yet this Looksmaxxing thing is like, it's quite because this guy is the face of it. And it's supposed to be understanding that the world judges people because of how they look, and you want to do better in the world. So you do different hacks or whatever to improve your looks. But the thing is, they're like doing very extreme shit. Clavicular exposed for Mafia ties following opening of $5 million Miami club. Yeah, and the thing is, like, this guy has always been conventionally attractive. It's not like some like improvement story. It's just some guy who is convincing other people to be more shallow. And that's the problem I have with it. I'm not against different types of optimization. I take minoxidil for the hair regrowth for this spot here. People do different things, but it's the making that your life and assessing everybody by the number score, by these different things. It's just really encouraging a shallow perspective. I feel like when we were maybe 10, 15 years ago, people were like leaning more towards body acceptance, body positivity, where it's, yeah, get yourself in shape, have as good as hygiene as you possibly can, but at the same time have this understanding that like we're all different people, we all have things that we're insecure about, everybody is flawed in some way, and we should be gracious to other people and hopefully expect them to be gracious to us and not even really look at the world that way. And it's one of those things where what they recognize about the world, that people are evaluated constantly for their looks, that is something that should be recognized and fought against. You know what I mean? Fought against mentally. Oh, if a thought like that enters your head, that's fucked up. instead of trying to build society around it and be like, yes, it's good to shame people for how they look. This is how you keep society in order. That like shit is twisted. But let's look at this Israeli stuff. Internet personality Clavicular, yes, whose real name is Braden Peterson, is facing serious scrutiny after content creator John Bravo released a video exposing alleged connections to a convicted felon with ties to the Israeli mob following the grand opening of a $5 million Miami club Peters claimed to own. Yeah, the Johnny Bravo video is hilarious and awesome. Like this guy did awesome research. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna jack his content. I would recommend that you check out the video if you are interested in this, but I'll go through the main details. But look at this guy. And he named his channel John Bravo.
Afford a $5 million club. He's been streaming for 4 months. Yeah, he makes money on Kick. Yeah, he makes money on Stake, but still, how did he get a $5 million club? I'm going to show you how. Because
it's so funny. Like he gave himself the perfect name. I'm amused as hell by that channel. But yeah, Peters built his online following by positioning himself as a mentor, helping young men improve their appearance and social lives. Let's see. In one unregarded moment, Peters rated his own authenticity about a 1, saying, I pretty much cap about everything on stream. And that is 100% the situation. Like he's playing a character. Everything that he's doing is for the attention. A lot of these guys be playing that game. And so what happened is he opened this massive club in Miami, $5 million club. And he had this grand opening the day after he overdosed. And he kept on saying that it was his club. I thought that was a little bit weird because I've been in the club industry and I was like a 22-year-old club promoter. I wrote a book about that, which you could buy, Paper Squares and Purple Stars. But anyway, I know that some kid, even if you have influencer money, you've only been viral for 6 months. You're not gonna be buying a club that soon, you know? So people started looking into it and they found this guy who is connected with the Israeli mafia. Let's see. The most serious revelation centers on the club itself. When Peter's associate, known as an androgenic, was broadcasting live from Peter's home, Peters entered demanding the camera be cut. Behind him walked a figure identified as Hiwak 9, described as the actual owner of the Baccarat Club and convicted felon with alleged ties to the Israeli mob. Let's see the part. I think I can cue it up where that guy came in. Yeah, it's right here.
waving his hand around like an asshole to cut the camera. And when you look behind him, you see this mysterious guy walking in the door with his Sharmuta wife behind him and his security guard. Now, this is Hiwak Neen, the guy who really owns the Baccarat Club, and he came to have a secret meeting with Clap, but he's got a bit of a shady past.
So yeah, let's look into this guy's history real quick. This guy is involved with a lot of people. Look at this. Inside Offset's early morning yacht party just hours before shooting. Here's this guy. Hiwak 9. Crazy. Here's another article. Asaf Acewak 9 is charged with extorting money from the host of the high-stakes poker games. Prosecutor said Wak 9 is an organized crime figure who referenced a 2023 murder outside a Hollywood Hills poker game when demanding protection fees. So he's basically saying when he was trying to collect money from people, he was probably saying, I've killed before and I'll do it again. Don't mess with me. A torched Bentley gunshot in the Hollywood Hills? This is wild. The document describes how a reputed crime figure, Asaf Wak 9, allegedly tried taking a cut of the profits from a weekly card game in which players at times won and lost millions in a night. Dude, this 20-year-old dumbass chud is involved with one of the most dangerous people in the country, or one of the most dangerous non-government employees in the country, I'll say. I guess you'll really want to end up like your other bitch-ass poker buddy, Whack9 wrote in a text message. Dumbass is being loud as hell on a text message. He denied having threatened people. So there's a lot of things with him trying to get money out of people where people are owed money. 3 days later, 4 suspects set fire to a Bentley SUV that was parked outside a Benedict Canyon home where a poker party was being held. On May 26, 2023, a suspect lobbed a Molotov cocktail at a car outside of Encino house associated with one of the game hosts, setting the car and house on fire. 2 weeks later, Liesel was gunned down. Phone records show that Liesel was in communication with Highwalk 9, often trading texts about expensive watches and fancy cars. Then, shortly before his death, Liesel began sending inflammatory and threatening messages to Wack 9 Brothers, the agent wrote. The last night of his life, Liesel was playing poker at a rented home on Forlorn Drive when 2 men pulled up in a stolen Dodge truck, according to a video played at the recent hearing in Los Angeles County Superior Court. An LAPD detective testified that Ricardo Corral stepped out. Corral, then 29, was a thrice convicted felon who'd served prison terms for assaulting police, carrying a gun as a felon, and shooting into a house. I want to find out why he's free. What's going on here? That's insane. Let's go back to this article over here, see if we could get any more out of here. There's this other clip that this guy found where some other creep is talking to them on stream. And one thing you got to understand is this guy is streaming many hours a day, just following him around in his day-to-day life. That's the thing that they do. And he's on drugs a lot of the times. So a lot of times they're like slipping up and talking about shit in here. And in here, he starts talking about managing OnlyFans models. And when you are doing that, like, you're a fucking creep 9.9 times out of 10. Like, I totally support the workers that are doing the content, but these dudes are fucking taking advantage of them and shit. And, you know, the whole point of these platforms is for them to create their own content and make their own money minus 20% or whatever the fucking platform takes, but not be controlled by people like this. But you could see when they're having this conversation, Clavicular look at the camera and be like, and widen his eyes. You should not be talking about this right now.
Trying to recruit them, but bro, I've been there. When I was 19, I was doing OnlyFans management, and you know what? I just thought I'd only ever get a team that's actually on it, because the teams that don't do it, they do that fucking shit.
See, he's like even shaking his head. And that dude in the background's looking, he's like, he knows the camera's on, and he shouldn't be talking about this.
This guy just don't. Clav's ruthless, mate. Clav will get your sister on OnlyFans. Watch out, boys.
It's a deleted stream.
So clearly, he's been trying to hide it.
And that is what Andrew Tate was basically going to be charged with trafficking for in Romania that he got away with. It seemed to have got away with at this point. Crazy shit. So I'm sure we haven't heard the last of this dude, unfortunately. And as much as I don't like talking about him, he is a very interesting case study in some things that are wrong with the culture right now. And there's also all these weird connections, like his connection to the Israeli mob, his connection to Peter Thiel, the fact that they have an army of clippers that they pay in developing countries, like $20 a day or something like that, working in these like clip farm factories. That's how he got big. It wasn't like a natural thing. It was very much astroturfed. And yeah, he's definitely backed by Peter Thiel. One journalist asked him about his Peter Thiel connections, and he cut off the interview right there. Although he cuts off a lot of interviews at a lot of random ass points. But I think that was the first interview that he really ran away from.